Okay, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us for the second LinkedIn Live of the 2026 seasons. For those who don't know us yet, this is part of a monthly series that we run at CommuniD. Once a month, we sit down with a leader, an operator, a founder, somebody that we admire and we think that we can learn from. And actually, we try to learn something from their experience and their stories. If you like this format, like all the content creators say, please follow us, follow CommuniD, and so you will see the next LinkedIn Live on your feed. Today, I'm hosting someone I worked alongside for several years at Coring, and who since then has taken the leap that many of us dream. So I said this in one of the preparation posts. He left the senior role. He left a good career, an excellent career in a challenger, in an orthopedic company, and to build something of his own. That is something that probably everybody is thinking of, but very few have the guts to try. So I'm very happy to introduce Mathieu Rimaud, the founder and CEO of Twinsight, a French startup that is building a digital twin for the human knee. I know that it just arrived from the US because the product is now FDA-cleared. They are launching it in the United States. And I believe this technology is absolutely wonderful and has a lot of potential. So, Mathieu, please, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Elvio. Thank you everybody to listen to us today. So it's a real pleasure to be here and to be connected together. Some years after working together with Elvio, so that's a funny small world of orthopedics. So yeah, in a few words, I'm a biomedical engineer. I studied in France, and I've spent basically 25 years in the orthopedic and innovation. Now you may have heard on orthopedics about robots. I already started to work with them more than 25 years ago. It was in California. It was a product which was called Robodog at this time, funny fact. And now this is the assets were taken back by the company Think Surgical that you may have heard of. And basically, I think during this session, we will go into some key details of my career, and coming from startups to bigger companies, different positions from operational, general management, customer service, but also marketing. And for the last 6 years now, I'm the CEO and one of the co-founder of a company which is called Twinsight, and we are working basically on the pre-op planning software and to basically complete the existing portfolio of technologies. So I'm looking for this session to share this experience and have fun.
Thank you, Mathieu. And for the audience, we're going to do this in 3 parts. So the first part is the human story. What actually takes someone to move from an employee to an entrepreneur. And I think this is very valuable. This is very interesting to everybody because, again, I think that most of us have this type of feeling and this type of dream. Then the second part, I would like to understand from Mathieu the operational story. So what does it mean? What does it take to build a startup? The lesson learned, the problems in funding the new company. And then the third one is will probably be the most interesting, is Twinsight itself. The product, the problem that is solving exactly now. We're all learning and talking about robotic pre-operative planning. What is Twinsight and what Twinsight is bringing to this equation. So before we start, 2 quick housekeeping items. The first one is you can see a chat box in your LinkedIn screen. this is where you can drop your questions. And please drop your questions anytime, and we'll capture the best ones, and I will immediately forward them to Mathieu. The second one, I really suggest you to follow Mathieu and follow Twinsight, and we will give you all the information to follow Mathieu and Twinsight later or in following posts. So Mathieu, let's start from the first question, and that take us back to probably 10, 15 years ago when you decided to make this change. How was it? Was it gradual? There was a specific day in which you said, Anna, you know what, I'm doing this. What was the trigger? How did it happen?
So I think that nothing happened randomly. I think, as I said, I spent my whole career in orthopedics, and I follow all several technologies. And it's also part of network and connection with people. So that's why I think the two basically triggers that I got in my hands and in my mind. I think that there was two things. First, for direct my last position at Corin, to be honest, one of the last moves that Corin made was to buy a company which was Omni for one of their products, which was Omnibotics, which was a product that I launched more than 10 years ago. So that was kind of a flashback and kind of basically like a shock to say, okay, in 10 years, all these products have changed. And in the meantime, I've met some, which are today my co-founders, with a really cool technologies about this digital twin. And they basically were more on the R&D side and scientific side and really don't really know how to make it into a product. And basically what lighted to my head at this time was, oh, can we change this? And finally, can I be a real entrepreneur and basically making the thing happen and basically building on what my co-founders got and into what I believe what was missing in the orthopedic market. So that's
when
kind
you
of
left, so when you left, you had already Twinsight in mind.
Sure. It's
okay.
basically, honestly, I left in after the summer, and then it took us a couple of days because I didn't want to resign one day to the other and to let the company as it is. So I think I decided early in the summer. In the summer, and then I quit in December or last December.
Okay. And let's say in the first 90 days after leaving, which are the emotions that you lived in the first 90 days? What was bad? What was good? I mean, not going to the office. I don't know. I think the first 90 days are sometimes
90 days.
For a lot
of 90 days is really hard to remember, and it's really quite a short of time when you look at the journey we made. So there was a kind of a mix of, yes, I don't need to do any reporting, and everything I will do, it's for my company. And it's I think that it's a mix of excitement, freedom, I would say that, and also in the meantime, how can I build a safe environment? So I'm not a base jumper by essence, but it's maybe could be a similar feeling that, okay, should I jump? And I will jump. I'm jumping, but is it safe enough?
Yeah, it's nice this analogy of the jump, because I've always thinking, yes, a jump is something that you need to do. I mean, it's a zero, it's an analogic step. It's 0 or 1. You cannot half jump, no? And did you have a cost? Was there a personal cost in terms of finance or family time or weekends, and do you think it was worth it?
Yeah, so I think what one of the big wins that I got is this autonomy, and everything that I was supposed to do, I made it with the best of my heart and my mind. And I didn't need to do a report or whatever strategy I got in mind or that I got in mind with my co-founder, we made it happen. And it was not to try to negotiate during days and months that we should, for instance, kill a product portfolio or try to make this strategic move or try to develop this new product. And then everything was in our hands. So that was a big change. You basically direct control.
Okay, that's interesting. So the product was already there, the idea was already there. You didn't have to develop an idea. But which were the competencies you had to learn in the first year, if you want? Something that, let's say, something that you struggled with.
I think, to be honest, if I look at come back on the most struggle is how you convert a technology that your co-founder thinks is working as it is into a product that the industry or anybody will understand. It's how do you basically convert, you do not make what we call it push technologies, and we really answer to a clinical need. And that's why we also want to some business school in order to help us to do what is a true pitch deck expected and not a technical pitch deck.
Okay, and this is from a technical standpoint, but from a human standpoint, was there, I don't know if I can call it a competence, but a skill, something that helped you in the first year?
Yeah, I think what the beauty of our company is that we have already skills which are very complementary across the co-founders. So basically, it was much more like a nice recipe where how to put all the ingredients all together, either from our internal know-how, but also from the external resources such as finance, for instance, or HR, and how we structure a company which will be safe and efficient. Like I remember, like the first employment contract that we need to do, I made it for once because with the proper person, and then each time I need to hire someone, the process is on, and I don't need to think about it because I'm not an HR professional, but we're not big enough to have one HR dedicated person. So it's just an example out of my mind. That is my job was to structure the company to make it really operational and safe from an economic perspective.
That's interesting. And which are the mistakes that you made, and if you could talk to somebody, you would recommend, okay, don't do this? Is there anything that you wouldn't recommend to do?
I don't know, it is in other countries, but in France, everybody told you that you always screw your first company, and because you need to learn and practice. I think so what we did with our network, with all the person and the willingness we want to make these companies successful, we de-risk it quite a lot. I think maybe the main one will be much more on the maybe a lawyer point of view and how to structure stuff, which will be then easier to do for the future of the company. So it was really fine for the next couple of years. Some stuff could have been done differently. I do not say it's bad. It could have been done better.
So you're thinking more from a legal standpoint, the creation of the...
Yeah, or even sometimes even the place, like for instance, depending on the area, you can have some areas which are better than others. Region of the world are, for instance, in the US, the business is way different. And even when you try to raise money in the US, you have basically 10 times easier than what you can do in France. Or there is some other European companies which could be really good. We are really good. We are in the Grenoble area in the southeast, where there is a lot of good persons. There is good academy. We have good partnership with hospital and labs. So it's great. And again, nothing is perfect. You need to make some choices. So I'm not sure we did bad choices, but some little stuff could have been done differently.
Okay. And now let's move into, you're starting your first day. So it's your first day. Did you have a team? Did you have an office? What was did you have a phone, a laptop?
Yeah. So of course, I mean, when you try to do your company, it's like your baby. So there's a boundaries that could be a bit tricky. One of the specificity of our company is that we basically were incorporated during the COVID confinement. So it means that a lot of stuff were being digital, and actually celebration of the incorporation was not possible across us because we were all locked in. So talking about that, excuse me again, what the question was? Sorry.
No, the question was when you started the first day.
Yeah. So first days. So the beauty of
you have
again,
the basic equipment. Like, for instance, when I started my own company, I remember the biggest headache was that I was absolutely not able to set up the IT.
Yeah.
But I didn't have an IT manager.
Sure.
So I wasted so much time in setting up very easy things. I was wondering for you.
I think it is again, our team was already complementary. So it means that the skills were already on. They know their technologies. On my side, for CEO, which was much more the operational side, and it was kind of easy to make it step by step. First step was legal, incorporate the company. So it's basically kind of administrative tasks that we were able to do. And then we started like this, and after I think 1 year, we started to take a little office where there was the first big server, and then we got our first intern for a couple of months, and then we hire our first employee, and then that's the team grows. So the advantage of our company is that we are software only, and a lot of things could be done on the cloud. So we have a lot of agility as well, and that's allow for me to have a really scalable company. And also, that's also why I'm more confident to make this company, like if I was doing an implant company or a robot company, whereas you have much different constraints to build up.
Clearly. So you knew already your co-founder, correct?
Yeah, one of them, I worked with him like 20 years ago, and he was then we both of us made our own life, and then he worked with the three others. So the three others co-founders were already working together. They got this said good idea but digital twin. And if I came to the stories, they said, "Oh, let's start about the foot or ankle." I said, there is some good things to do on the knee side, and that's why we basically pivoted and making our first product around the knee, and actually the total knee.
And which signal told you to trust them? I guess it must have been a big jump, because let's say you decided to take a route that is having co-founders, so creating a company with multiple owners. The other option could be to build your own company and be the master of yourself, of your company. Why did you decide to go into that route? And which are the pros and cons?
Sure. I mean, technically, is that I'm not a lonely guy, and I really rather federate a team, work together, and be able to facilitate. Like, if you have the best technology ever, but nobody is able to put that into a product which will fit the market, for me, it's a loss. And that I think that was the main project, the main finding that I got with these co-founders is that we were matching, because they were already, the three of them were complementary, and I was complementary to them, and without me, they could never have made this company happening. And that's why everybody is important, and that's why it's not 100% my company. It's not where it's shared between us, because I call it even the 4 feet of a chair. With 3 you are stable, but with 4 you are even more stable.
Yeah. The Beatles were 4.
But honorable figure, so
I'm a Beatle fan, and so, but I understand what you're saying clearly. The synergy that is created by a team of leaders is definitely compounding versus what one person alone can do. And with these regards, when we're talking about team, product, customers, capital, timing, to you, which was the most important element?
I think that as the co-founder, but the team as well, is aligned and dedicated to make this product out of the door to serve the patient, and to do better care. And I think it's also a chance that we have to, when we work in the medical field, that you can have something which you give your own motivation. And that's also that when basically we describe the company, and we have a lot of people which are knocking the door because they would like to work with us. And that's, I think, that what we managed to do as a team. And again, this team is the four co-founders, but also the all the teams that we managed to hire, but also the partners. We're working with a lot of surgeons. We trust us and would like to be involved in the development of the product, and also all the, I would say, the part-time or external resources, which could be like such business development, HR, finance, which basically like to be on the boat. And we basically managed to federate that, not only from a product point of view, but for the added value that it will provide for the society.
Okay, and can you explain to us which was the funding mechanism? Because again, you've been very successful in obtaining FDA clearance, but I guess that this has needed some level of funding. So, how was your strategy
Okay.
specifically with that regard?
So when you found a company, you have in France, that's a chance, a luck to be in France, that you can have a lot of support from the public, from the government, and I thank them through France 2030, BPI France, the region here where we are, Région Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes, which provided a lot of grants or support or bank loans, but also the bank. Because here we have special innovative banks which can support us and complete for this funding. But when we got that, however, you still need to have to have some assets, and this asset would come either from fundraising, and we mainly with surgeons or business angels from the field, either from the orthopedics or from the simulation world. And that basically provided not only equity, but it's also providing experience and expertise that they provide to the company. And that's why basically it's like a double win. And my final word about that is, as we are a 100% software company, I'm working really hard to be really cautious about the cost and to save, as the level of treasury is clearly secured, and we try to push the expenses as low as possible in order to reach to what we did. And basically, as you said, we reach a 510(k) clearance with only limited equity.
Okay. Let me stop 1 second to these points, because you raise a very, very interesting point. That is the fact of funding someone that could support you with the funding, so with the money, with the wealth, but at the same time could also support you with a certain level of competencies and knowledge. That is not very. I think it's unique. It's not. It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's like maybe the same way we hire the team is with who do you want to be part of your journey? I like the analogy of the boat, and we are all in the same direction, pushing out to make it happen. And these people, when they listen to us, it's not only me, it's the whole team, what we did, where we can go with the technology. They said that they want to be part of the game. They want to be part of the team, and that's something a bit unique for sure.
Wow, no, it's interesting. And you mentioned the fact of being in France, and I've always been very envious of the infrastructure that exists in France, because clearly, yes, it's true that a startup has more elements, more support than in any other country of Europe. Now that you're dealing a lot with the US, do you see huge differences between France and the US?
I think that, yes, you mentioned about venture capitalists. It's much more difficult in France or in Europe than in the US. And the amounts are totally not the same. So of course you're burning more money in the US, but you can also access to more money easier, in an easy way. And that's, I think it's a kind of a paradigm that in France it's really hard, and it's harder and harder to raise fund across VCs, and I got the feeling that also they take less risk. For instance, for a company like us, they would like, even for a seed round, they would like to have to be certified, to get already customers and revenues and users and revenues. It means that it's mainly more for Series A stages than for a seed stage, and that's why I found it really more difficult to raise funds. So it's maybe for the first years, it's maybe easier in France. Uh, because you have a lot of support, but to convert that into something that you would ever really want to scale, especially when the business, orthopedic business, is mainly in the US, that's another challenge.
And I don't know if you can disclose this, but do you have multiple sponsors? Do you have multiple supporters, financial supporters, or only one or two?
What do you mean by supporters?
Supporters, I mean stakeholders or private equity that are.
So yeah, private equity is today, the private equity of Twinsight is only individuals. So it's this is come from that. But in addition to that, we got the support of the bank, of two of the bank in the place here, which put us some really good conditions, but also BPI France, which was a great support, and also by extending the length of the loans that could make this affordable for a startup company, and some grants as well, because we basically raised a good grants in 2023 that helped a lot, and also for the credibility, because it means that we were awarded about this grant and everybody said, oh, okay, this basically we were checking a mark.
The quality is already certified by the grants, by the foundation that is providing the grant. Okay, I get it. You have the magic word in your pitch, that is AI, supported by AI in healthcare. Do you think that the magic word has helped you funding your company, or no, it's neutral?
I think AI today is a way, depends the way you use it. Somebody use AI but they don't know what's behind. The way we use AI at Twinsight is to make it to avoid cumbersome and painful tasks to happen. We don't use it for doing everything, because in our technology, it could not be used for everything. For instance, the simulation, this is our own algorithm. For some of the steps, this is our own stuff. It's not, everything is not AI based. Mathematics could not do everything, and AI is machine learning in some way. So until you have the proper data, it could not work. So we have our own AI team, and I think AI need to be a tool. It's not a keyword. It's a tool to help you to reach next stages faster in a more efficient way, and to limit resources that could be avoided, the cost of resources that could be avoided.
Okay. There is one question from the audience, and that is asking about the work-life balance, and they are asking if the work-life balance is possible when you launch a business at that stage, or you need to consider again that you will have to sacrifice at certain level your personal matters.
I mean, every day of your life is the work.
Is your wife happy?
Okay, so I will tell you that in my current life, my work-life balance was horrible, because I was traveling 3 days a week. My suitcase was always ready, and I didn't know. I sometimes made 3 cities in 4 days, and my work-life balance was not really perfect. So I got a different work-life balance, and exactly the same thing what I said about my reporting or things like this. I can control what I want to do. So if I'm running, and during running, I want to think during 30 minutes about the strategy and things like that, this is my way of doing, and I can control it in a better way than if someone has to do it and I have to make it for Monday morning, 10 a.m. And that I think this is the main difference. So my work balance is much easier today because I can control it. It doesn't mean that I am working. So it's a very different thing of the work balance is to decide how much you want to work. And if you want to work 80 hours, 100 hours a week, this is your decision. This is your balance. So this is a bit theoretical for sure. And sometimes you have to do more than you really want to do. And sometimes, yes, you have to work a bit more or take a customer to make some duties. Like, it's the end of the month, you're the guy to make the accounting, you need to make it happen. But this is part of the game. Nobody's perfect, right?
Yeah, no. I think you said it perfectly. It's part of the game, but the fact that I think that the real element is that you can control your own pace, and that means that, yeah, if you want to run a little bit faster, you can. But when you want to slow down or you feel is the time to slow down, you can. Okay, now let's jump to Twinsight. I'm looking forward to it because I'm very curious. I want to understand what Twinsight is doing. Can you let's start from the very, very basic. What does a surgeon get wrong today and why?
So the surgeon don't really get it wrong. The surgeon doing his best job, and the patient is not happy all the time, because everybody is different and everybody's got different anatomy, and the surgeon today applies the rules which are not that much personalized. It's starting, to be honest. It's starting. But surgeons are experts. They got a lot of information in their mind, but this is not accessible for every surgeon. It's not accessible for every patient. But to answer more, we will have to go in the details of what is really a need to. If we take the example of a total knee replacement, or is it today, and all surgeon, what is the tools that today a surgeon is having? Today, I mean, honestly, surgeons are doing mainly a good job, except that not all of the patients are happy, which is not the case for the hip, for instance, where the results are much better. So it's I think is today there is not the proper tools provided for a surgeon to make him nice planning, which will support him to the good decisions.
Mathieu, I want to challenge you a little bit. Now, because every time I write or read a post that is about technology in knee replacement, we have the widest possible comments that, let's say, start from it's absolutely useless. It just uses more time. There's no clinical proof that it improves the patient satisfaction. So there are a lot of skeptical industry leaders, people with huge experience about technology. Why do you think they are wrong?
I think I remember, and this was part of the discussion we got at Corinne, that this time was value-based healthcare. What is the price of this robot? What is the price of these technologies? Can they make more surgeries a day? For an average surgeon, I don't think so. Is it affordable? Look at what's happening in the US with the ambulatory centers. Most of the ambulatory centers don't have the robot. The hospital got the robot. So why we have these differences? I think this is just it. It's a product market fit. And maybe if we take an analogy, is today, maybe of the car industry. Like 20 years ago, everybody saw that we will have automatic car, and you don't need to drive your car. What is the reality today? It's not really happening. But in the meantime, you're using your GPS to know exactly which road you will take or when you will arrive to provide your ATA to your friends or to the meeting that you need to attend.
So what is the advantage of Twinsight versus?
Okay, so basically the advantage is to provide information before the surgery that usually you're discovering during the surgery. And so if you're better prepared, you will save time during your surgery. And if I again take the analogy of a car, of a GPS on the car, it's not maybe having your GPS when you're driving. It's to take the GPS before you start, before you press the start button of your car, to decide if you will, when you exit your driveway, if you'll go right or if you go left. If you plug your GPS when you're already on, after you already pick the left direction, you already made a decision based on your experience and what you think would have been the best, but maybe not the best option for this particular day.
So then the surgical moment remains exactly the same.
For me, that's exactly the purpose of Twinsight, is to be everything pre-op. There is multiple player for the intra-op. If it's a robot, AR, nice instruments too, which will take the lead for these steps. So it's impossible for me as a company to go to do the pre-op, the intra-op, but also the implant, which at the end is where the industry is making most of the money. The robots today are a tool, a service to make this surgery happen.
Okay. Let's go back 1 second to the technicalities in terms of regulatory. I heard that you are FDA cleared. So first, it looks to me that you prioritized FDA versus CE marking. That makes sense, but if you can explain that. And when do you think it will be CE marked?
Okay. So first, the decision of CE versus FDA there was two drivers there. First, the business. The volume of implants is way bigger, in the US than in Europe and than in Europe. And also, honestly, if you talk to notified bodies in Europe or FDA, you have really different games. And for a product like us, similar technical file, it would have required 6 months more of work and almost 100K euro additional to reach the same level. So as a company, as a startup, you can't do everything at the same time. You need to start. And that's why we decided to go to the US first.
Is there a reason why, or let me put it another way, is the new regulation, is the MDR significantly influencing this decision, or you would have gone to the US anyway?
If honestly, we are already ISO 13485 certified. So it means that according to the previous regulation, if it was still MDD, we could have been a class 1 auto certified. So the regulatory game would have been quite similar. So in this case, if we were 5 years ago, maybe we could have done both in parallel, and it will have helped, definitely. Because for us, it's quite difficult as a French company supported in Europe, supported by all the government initiatives that we will serve foreign patient before ourselves. Like even if me or my family or our families need this technology, we need to travel to the US. It's weird.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's exactly why I was thinking about that, because again,
so technically, the MDR put our category of software in a way which is unacceptable.
Okay, and by the way, we will have the next LinkedIn Live will be with Basil Akra on June 10th, and we will exactly discuss about that, because Basil is a great supporter, and I think he's fought a lot to simplify the MDR, but I believe that we're not still at the level that we as industry would have hoped.
And there is some other European initiative, even in UK, where you are, in Switzerland, in Australia, where people try to get rid of this CE marking, or try to be not CE marking, to be less dependent on this high expectation of the MDR. So let's see.
Yeah, the situation is evolving rapidly. I agree. A couple of questions about your customers. Who do you have two customers? Do I understand right if I think that you had two customers, the surgeon himself or herself and the implant manufacturer? Is that correct?
I would say even than only the implant, it could be also the technology manufacturers. It means that the industry in general, because they could be interested to enhance their planning solutions with our planning solution. And also the industry is, and the surgeon, because the surgeon are the users. And however, even when the industry make decision, they are following what the surgeon needs or requests. And that's why having this double game around surgeons and the industry is our two streams of customers. And in addition, also one of the problem we got today with technology is that a lot of technologies are linked to only one implant manufacturers. And if you would like to use one technology, you need to use one dedicated implant. And that's what sometimes crisps some of the surgeons, because they'd rather be more independent than to really to use one technology, to use one implant if they want to use one technology only. So that's the beauty of our software, is to be agile and to be adapt. And that's why, again, we are focusing only on this part. If we were making intraop or implants, we will make a different game.
You mentioned the point of the business model in one of your previous answers, but I would like to deepen this a little bit further. So basically, if I understand it correctly, you're saying, okay, you can use Twinsight either if you're using a manual surgery, or if you're using a surgery that is managed by a pre-op planning, or if you're using a robot. And you're saying, we cannot, as a company, we cannot influence this. It's a surgeon's decision. But don't you think that this will pile up the cost? The cost of the overall procedure remains a critical element, and I believe that it will continue to be. So if we're adding too many layers, aren't we making the surgery too expensive?
There is a different way to tackle that. As you said, did robot demonstrated that they were providing added value? The answer is not crystal clear. Some say yes, some say no. So the question is, when you can look that they're already paying a lot for expensive technologies, why they could not offer for something which is more affordable, more scalable, and they can use whatever instruments that they will use, whether it's conventional instruments or technology instruments, robots.
So basically, you're saying you could use Twinsight with a standard knee, with a standard instrument, and you can still perform an improved surgery for that patient.
Yeah. Think about, if you today, I think one of the problem of knee surgery or knee replacement surgery is that they are not really planning, and that's quite, even when you talk to some people, they are quite surprised about it. But the truth is, if you have only a templating software which is in 2D and the knee is already a 3D problem, how do you want to use it? And what's the point of them to offer for a surgeon to spend time on the 2D templating? It's useless. So that he'd rather trust himself, trust their experiences in the daily practice, because they're doing many cases, and so far they will do a good job. But when you enter the operating room, you don't know if it will be a size 3 or size 4, if they will cut 8 or 9, or what will be the best. And so it means that everything is happening. They got an idea, but this is not accurate enough.
Mathieu, last two questions. The first one is technical. No, they're both technical, clinical. I'm very interested in these elements. 1 year ago, roughly 1 year ago, we had a LinkedIn Live with Stefan Kreutzer. That is a great supporter of technology in knee or hip replacements. And the explanation that he was giving to us was the technology, besides and in addition to the many other advantages, But the technology, the biggest, the largest advantage of the technology is that it is quantify the feeling. It's not anymore like, it's stable. I know exactly what stable means, and I can give a number to stable. And this translating a feeling into number is moving from is moving into science. We can do science only if we can exactly measure and objectively measure.
Sure.
What Twinsight is providing here?
So today it's exactly what we will provide, is to put numbers to the knee. And when you have these numbers, surgeon can understand more and then decide in the future what will be a good planning, or because they will have some numbers to quantify that and say, okay, for this patient which feels good, I made it not only like this, I get 9 and 10, 2-degree varus, and that's it. So they basically can have a track on what really happened to the knee. And I am really humble about what we can offer. I don't want to say that our solution will give the perfect planning right now, because nobody knows what is the perfect planning for this particular patient.
Lovely. Excellent.
So it's how to make it personalized. And AI then will be able to compute that, and then that will be the second step of the software. And again, it came back to your AI question. AI will be here when you have the proper data to learn about it and provide information which will be useful and not fake, and it will not be a random information. And this will be then tied up to what the surgeon is doing, to his patient population, and to whatever parameters it will feed the AI to answer his proper need. But again, this is what will happen next.
There is a very appropriate question from the audience that is saying, what was the main or strongest element that made you decide to make the leap from employee to co-founder?
I think I've always been an entrepreneur in my mind. As we said, it's a question of opportunity, but also risk. If I was jumping when I was 25, I will really jump with almost no parachute on my back. Right now, it's also because I met my co-founders, and it was this experiment, and I saw that it was the right timing to make it happen. Maybe it was my middle-age crisis, so I don't know. I didn't buy the car. I made my company. So I think it's a personal decision. I think there is no truth. It's everybody is having his own personal experience, what they can happen in their life. Each day of their professional experience could be for me. You learn every day. You learn. Sometimes you it's difficult, but it's for me. It was the gathering a lot of experiences. And when I jumped into 2020, that was a perfect day, and I'm flying safely. I will land safely for sure. But it's still flying every day, and so it's exciting, risky, and some people don't want to exit their comfort zone. Some people will remain employee for ages, decades, because they said, should I? And I think it's, for me, that's why there's not a personal recommendation. You need to talk with some people, to listen. Some people, like today, I'm also open to discuss with anybody which is willing, which is wondering if they should jump or not. And for me, it's really a friendly answer is, are you ready to jump? Is you make your own decision.
Yeah, but Mathieu, when I was preparing this live, I had in the list of the questions I had, are you happy? And I won't make this question because you're clearly happy. It's evident. So for you, it worked. It's the basic, and I think you perfectly explained why it worked for you. I have one last question. If Twinsight is doing everything you hope, what changes to the patient experience will make first, and in how long will it be in? Because you mentioned this fact of, and then there will be the second level that will be when we have enough data to be able to use AI. So I imagine you probably have two levels of benefits. A first level, but then a boosted level when you will have AI. So which are the benefits, and when will we be able to see these benefits?
So first, to answer the when is when you look at everything's happening with AI, software coding, and things like this. I will be really, I'm pretty sure we'll be surprised earlier than expected. So this is to answer the when. I don't know. Then the beauty of a technology is we can go deeper in one joint, or we extend that to other joints. So for instance, our technology could be extended to other joints like spine or foot and ankle, and there is multiple clinical need over there. However, if it's what's my real dream in maybe a bit more than 5 years, is you basically got a CT scan of your knee maybe when you are 20 years old or even 40 years old, and at this time the surgeon can know what will be the best. Is it to touch your meniscus right now, to leave your ACL right now, to as it is, or maybe think about a uni, or it's better to wait for I don't know, 2 years and then make a total knee, and then make the good choice of the surgery as soon as it is needed, and not basically applying a recipe which is working today, but it's not enough personalized. So the true idea of this personalized digital twin is to be able to give you the ability to the surgeon to better see what will happen, predict what will happen, simulate what will happen, and then make the proper personalized decisions.
Okay, so it's much more than the GPS, but you made the analogy.
Yeah. So my analogy of the GPS was not driving, because the GPS today is what's happening with the robots. They're driving you when you start to drive. Our vision of the GPS is really the GPS that you use before you start, before you say, should I go right or left? You see, this is kind of the difference. So it's basically highlighting with the possible routes and then helping you to drive from point A to point B is another kind of GPS.
Yeah, the simulation of the options is definitely what makes it, the possibility of choosing the option easier, or with more information. Mathieu, I really thank you for this conversation. It was absolutely valuable, definitely very, very interesting, and I love to learn about the product, but I also love to learn about your experience in this journey that is interesting, very interesting as well. So thanks a lot. Where can we find you? Where can we find more information about Twinsight?
So the best way to get, I think, proper track is on our LinkedIn website, either to the website of the LinkedIn page of Twinsight. Our website need to be revisited. We need to work working on the website. So I'd rather do LinkedIn either through Twinsight or to my personal profile. And you can direct email me, no problem. And I will be happy to discuss. And even if a few of the attendees still challenging about if they jump or not, I'm happy to have a chat with them, or to come visit us in Grenoble, or to some events that we will do, like one of the orthopedic congresses. I'm always keen to discuss, and I think it helps. It's important that people talk together.
Perfect. Mathieu, again, thank you. There is a question here that is saying, will there be a recorded version? Just for the understanding of everyone, the beauty of LinkedIn Live is that the session will be forever available for anyone who wants to see it on the big LinkedIn media platform that we heard from Mathieu is the preferred platform also for Twinsight, and I fully agree with that. So you can watch, rewatch, or watch the end of this session anytime. Just you go to the event and you click, and you can load it. Mathieu, thank you. And I thank everyone who joined us today in this conversation, who made questions. Again, I remember to follow us and stay tuned on the various LinkedIn Live. I mentioned this already. The next session is on June 10th at 3 p.m. UK time, 4 Central European time. We'll talk about MDR and the changes that occurred in the last year and a half on the MDR, and which are the consequences also, and which are still the risks for the companies. Mathieu, again, thank you, and I hope we'll have the chance of meeting face-to-face pretty soon.
Thank you, Elvio. Thank you for your team as well for making this happen, and thanks for the audience for attending and for the questions.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.